I want to start this video off by saying a big thank you to Ronnie and Glengie, who have all supported the channel this week by either buying me a coffee or putting a super like on YouTube. So you guys are awesome. Thanks a lot. Today I'm taking the MGB ATX out. Now this is one of those bikes that is sat in the showroom. I've seen it quite a few times and I've not had a chance. Today's the day. So as far as specs go, this bike's been out for ages. I'll drop a couple of the important facts and figures out for you. Namely, the seat height on this. It's quite tall. 850 millimeters, the seat height. So this is 25 millimeters taller than Royal Enfield's new 450 Himalayan. So that's the kind of size that we're looking at. And it is quite a big bike, especially when you add the luggage that's included with this bike as well. I'll show you what somebody of 5'8" with a 29-inch inseam looks like on this bike. That's not too bad. And as you can see already, because it's a 125 and it's relatively light, I can do this little walking game quite easily. It feels really light underneath you. Not top heavy. Yeah, feels like a nice comfortable riding position. I know it's as tall as something like the Himalayan, but doesn't feel as big, if you know what I mean. But it's comfortable. It's very comfortable. The seat's nice and wide, quite plush. Yeah, and it's not too tall for us short people. What I will say, it is tall, but it's not particularly long, so it doesn't feel big when you're on it. And what I've found already when I'm getting on and off the bike, these bags, although very practical, you do have to kind of mind your feet when you're getting on, because mine got a bit kick happy on this. But yeah, so far I like what I see. But let's have a look round it the usual way. So there we have it in close up in this glorious red. I think it does come in blue as well. I've definitely seen some blue ones knocking about. The bags are huge, so very practical. Definitely set up for a little bit of a tour. The seat, I've already said, nice and comfortable. There are some rear foot pegs as well for pillion rider if you want to take them on, but we'll see when we go for a test ride shortly just how much power it's got and whether or not I'd want to take somebody on the back. This one's just got the side stand. There's no centre stand included with this. It has got a chain drive, a bit of protection for the engine down the bottom. Classic adventure bike, you do have your knuckle guards and your lever protection on there. The headlight on this is very much like the previous generation GS, where you've got the big light, small light, just like a baby version. Nice spoke wheels, it's got CBS, old school. Does also come with a kickstart. Now I know that sometimes people look at that and think, it's an old engine, but for me, if you do happen to let your battery run flat, it's not a bad backup, that. So you've got your horn, your indicators, a high-low beam, and then you've got your flash. Right hand side, adjust your standard, you've got your engine stop-start. As far as the screen goes, yeah, we've just got old school dials on this. Quite a basic bike this, but it's a very, very basic price. It's really cheap, this bike. I know there's one in the showroom for a little over £2,000 for a used one, which is very good value, I think, for a 125 anyway. There's certainly some bargains to be had with these. Only one more thing for me to do, and that is to take this for a little ride. So we'll see how it fares against other 125s. Initial impressions are I like the looks, it feels comfortable, so we'll see how it performs out there. According to the spec sheet, it's got 12 horsepower, so it's about right for a 125. The big thing for me is how it rides, so yeah, let's see what it's like. I am now sat on the ATX. Let's see if it's any good, shall we? It's the important bit. Right, so I don't know if the noise comes across that well on the camera, but it sounds like
a typical kind of off-road type 125. That's what it sounds like. It's got a nice little pop to it. These mirrors are very small. They are like miniature, however quite practical. I can see everything that I need behind me. There is a gear indicator hidden in the middle of that. Very useful. Now what I'm going to do while we're on this cobble road, I'm going to give it the stand-up test. Do you know what? That's actually quite a nice position for the stand-up test. And these bikes, they are made to do a bit of the dirty stuff, aren't they? Ooh. It does give you a bit of a rumble to it when you wind it on a little bit. There's quite a lot of drama with it. I actually don't mind that. When you've got a 125 that has a little bit of drama, a little bit of noise, you know they're not going to be particularly quick. But it's got... it's alright, you know. Let me find a road to open it up a little bit more. That's not bad, you know. Performance on this, it's certainly equal to similar type bikes that I've been on. I would say possibly better than a couple of the bikes that I've been on have been what you would call the budget type bikes, and I would say that this bike fits in that category. They are very, very cheap. They're very well priced bikes. Now, because with this one in particular, you're getting the luggage and stuff thrown in. That for me makes this bike an absolute steal. It doesn't feel expensive, don't get me wrong. You haven't got the shiny TFT screen, you haven't got parts on this bike that make you think, oh, it's a, you know, it's an expensive machine. But it isn't an expensive machine. That's the whole point of this bike. These bikes are an entry-level adventure bike for somebody who can throw some L plates on and go and do a little bit of a tour. And so far, for the round the town driving these 30-mile-an-hour roads, yeah, it's very, very capable. As learner bikes go, you are getting quite a lot for your money here. You're getting a big motorcycle. It's a mini adventure bike. And I've seen quite a few videos of the sinister terrain, and I do think that this bike has got to be kind of comparable to that. There aren't many adventure 125s out there. This does seem comparable to bikes that are maybe £1,000 more expensive, maybe even more than that, because of the sheer size and because of the luggage. Let's not forget, on the bigger bikes, if you were to get luggage anywhere near what's on this bike, you're talking something like £1,200 just for the luggage, aren't you? £1,200 just for luggage, generally that's what it tends to be. Sometimes it's more. There's a big thing on girl math. I'm trying to do some boy math, because boy math comes into play when it comes to motorbikes, and you've got to be able to justify it to yourself when you're buying something, especially if you're buying it as a toy. If it's your only mode of transport, then yeah, it's already justified, isn't it? You're doing it because it's your mode of transport to get from A to B, get to work, whatever. But if you're looking at getting a bike as a plaything, something to throw around on the weekend, or something like this to go out and do a bit of camping or whatever, you've got to justify the figures, does it make sense? And from a financial point of view, this makes perfect sense because it's so cheap. It's an absolute steal, and it's comfortable. The more I ride it, the more I actually like the seating position of it. And if you've watched the channel before, I like an adventure bike. It does make me want to take it on a bit of dirty stuff though. When you look at this bike, you can see it is set up, you know, for a little bit of light green laning. You've got the crash protection, or you've got the engine protection at the bottom. It is set up to get dirty. As a beginner bike, yeah, I genuinely quite like it. They haven't got many, so it is a case of get them and get them quickly. If you're interested, go down and check them out yourself. Go and jump on one, see how it fits you. Kept it basic to keep the price down, because I'm sure they could throw in a TFT screen, they could throw a few extra bits on it and then charge you £1,000 more. We don't want that, do we? None of us want that. Not if you want something that you're going to take off road, or you're going to take down dirty tracks. Why on earth would you want to pay £1,000 more just so you've got a digital screen instead of this perfectly working screen? Cheap and cheerful is the best way to describe this bike. It is a really, well, it's a good bike for the money. So let me summarize it all for you. I'll do a quick fire summary, just get the basics out. So it's an 850mm seat height, so it may or may not suit you depending on your height. If in doubt, get down to a dealer's, get down to Into Moto, jump on the bike, see how it fits you. It's got 12 horsepower, so it's about standard for your average 125, and performance, I would say, is about average as well. It's not particularly fast, but it's not particularly slow either. A comfortable bike to ride, the seat's lovely, it's a nice position to be sat in, back up straight, no issues with that at all. And importantly, the price. There is one I've seen already in Into Moto that is up for sale for £2,299. Into Moto have a few bikes available, so if it's a bike that interests you, then you should get down there quickly. They are in limited numbers, so if this is a bike that interests you, then definitely get down to Into Moto, because once these are gone, I don't know if they're getting any more in, so you may miss out. And a little over £2,000, they're an absolute steal as well. They really are. It's a lot of bike for the money. I'm going to go in and get myself a brew. If you're interested, hit the description and I'll put a link in there. And also, if you like this video or videos of this type, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Drop me a comment if you want to ask a question about this bike. If I don't know, I'll contact the guys at Into Moto and ask the questions for you. If you want to help the channel even more, feel free to buy me a coffee, because yeah, I like coffee. Thanks very much guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Laters.